Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be doing an oil change on my Volkswagen Golf. It's a GTE model, and yeah, I've had it for about a year now, done about 10,000 miles or so, and time for an oil change. Although we're using it on battery, kind of half the time I'm using it, it's on engine. So I think about 5,000–6,000 miles, still a little bit early, but good to keep the engine in good condition. So let's get on with the job. Alright, off camera, I have already actually warmed the engine up to heat the oil up, which is a good thing to do because it gets more of the old oil out. But on a GTE, it's not obvious how to start the engine because this car is fully charged overnight and I've not used it for the day yet. So how do you start a GTE with a full battery? Well, actually, it's quite scary, to be honest. I don't really like it. Key is here. I've got a button start here, and you've got to put the foot to the floor basically and press your foot on the brake at the same time. I hate it. It always revs it too high. I've never got the right balance of getting the foot off the accelerator too quickly enough. I'm sure they could find a better way of starting the engine. Maybe I don't know it, but that's it. However, so oil temperature is currently at 50–51 degrees. So that's fine. Okay, so we're going to have to find the location of the oil filter, and if you have a look over here, quite often it's at the front of the engine, but clearly it's not. And so there's our oil fill, that's our dipstick, no sign of an oil filter, so I'm thinking it must be underneath. So let's go underneath and have a look. Okay, before we go under the vehicle to find the oil filter, I'll just tell you what tools we need for the job. First of all, we have an engine under tray. So I've got a little screwdriver with a T25 Torx head on it. I've got a couple of manual ones as well, just in case my electric fails. 19mm spanner for the sump plug, and I have actually got an oil filter adapter tool to screw it off. You may not have one of these, so use your hands, or you can usually get a strap. And of course, I have an oil filter, and my TPS center says new sump plug and washer every second time. That's what they said, so I went with it, and I've got a torch here too. Okay, you may notice that, well, it's a Golf GTE, so it's a bit lower than other cars. I have jacked it up a little bit just to get better access, so that'll help. So let's get the under tray off. You may notice that I'm at my house just now. It's a day off and we've not got a video for Monday. So young Kyle insisted that we do this on my day off. Thanks, Kyle. Okay, that's all the T25s out, and I see at the back there are some more Torx heads. I think they're T30 or T35, so hopefully I've got a tool. Okay, seeing as we're at home today and we're not at the workshop, it took me a bit of time to work out what tool to use. I managed to find an Allen head. It looks like about 4 or 5mm, I don't really know, but anyway, it fits, and I can get these bolts off the rear of the sump tray. And the beauty of this car is I actually imported this car from Japan, and it's amazing how good condition they are. So all the nuts and bolts and all the rest of it are nice and free, and because I've done this job before, I have copper greased them, so I'm not struggling with rusted heads and, you know, rusty threads and so on. So thankfully I can get these out, no trouble. By the time I've done this, the oil will be cold. That's life. However, it will still be warm enough. Right, that should come away from the front. It's got little sort of turrets, one over, one under sort of thing, fits under the front bumper. There's a little lock tab there. There we are. There's the oil filter at the front of the engine, just behind the radiator, and it looks like it's got plenty room for me to get access to it. So I've got my little ratchet tool. There we go. The colour of the oil looks a little bit brown, which is fine, it's normal. Oops. Right, it's a bit windy today, so that's why I've got some cardboard on the ground. Otherwise, Mrs. Campervan Man wouldn't be very happy with me on the drive. The first time I changed this oil on this car, it looked brand new. So I think it must have been used on battery most of its life. So I'll just spin that oil filter off, and let the oil drain out of it. And in the meantime, switch around here and get some paper. It's much easier to get the oil out, obviously, when it's warm. It makes it a bit thinner. Right, let's put that away. Good, I think that stopped dripping. So let's push the cardboard back a little bit and then we can go to the sump plug. Alright, so let's find the sump plug. Right, so we loosen that enough. And then it's easier with two hands. So the method is to unscrew it, keep a finger on it, and feel it till it's jumping on the last thread. There it is. And then all of a sudden, just whip it away. And if you're doing this at home, I do recommend plenty cardboard, plenty paper, because especially it's a bit windy today. So if it's a windy day like today, the oil, especially when it's sort of nearing the end of draining out, it'll get blown everywhere. Now, in my mind, there's nothing wrong with that sump plug, so I'll just keep it as a spare for another job. And we'll let that oil drain for a few minutes, just make sure everything's out. Okay, so I have turned the car around on the drive. Normally I've got it facing the other way because the charging socket for charging the hybrid battery is at the front of my garage, and because the charging socket's at the front of the car, that's why I nose it into the drive. But my drive's on a slight incline, so I've parked it the other way so that the oil all comes out the bottom a little bit better. So it's just helping me get more of the old oil out. Okay, so while we're waiting for the oil to drain, just a little thing to let you know. Normally, if I'm doing an oil change at the workshop, I'll put a card saying no oil in front of the dials, but because I'm not at the workshop today, we're not going to do that. It's just a good thing to do in case you get a phone call and in the meantime someone else starts the engine. It's just a really good precaution to take. So that's my advice of what to do. Right, let's get back to the job. Cinta 5W40 is the oil for a GTE, so that's what I'm using, and I've got a little box there to catch any stray drips, and I think it's about 4.5 litres or so. This bottle here is a 2-litre bottle. There we go, that's why we've got a box. Okay, that's enough oil come out. You might be interested to know the sump plug is one of those round crush type washers, so that should make a good seal. And you want the oil sump plug tight, but not so tight that you strip the thread. There we go. And then once that's tight, just make sure it's all nice and clean. A good opportunity to check that there's no oil leaks anywhere. All looks good. Okay, so we should put the oil filter on next. Okay, new oil filter. As soon as you start the engine up, the oil filter is going to fill up. And a little thing that I do is just pre-fill the oil filter, and it'll soak up a surprising amount of oil. There we go. And that will also give you a little dab of oil there, just to line the gasket, the rubber seal, and then we can spin that onto the housing. Okay, I've had a bit of blue roll stuffed into the space there, so let's just make sure it's all nice and clean. We'll get our new oil filter. Now, oil filters generally just hand tight. That'll do the trick. It's made a good seal and it's not coming off anytime soon. Okay, so that's done. We can put our oil in now. Okay, nice and easy to top up the oil, to refill the oil. It's at the top of the engine, and as you can see, I've put some blue roll there just to protect from any wayward splashes of oil. So apparently it takes 4 litres of the oil. Alright, that's all the oil in now. So all we need to do is get our under tray back on and get the car on the level, and then we can start the engine, leave it for a few moments, and then check the level of the oil. Alright, under tray is quite easy. Here are the little teeth that I was talking about earlier. One goes up, one goes under the lip at the front, just at the bottom of the bumper. And as you can see, there is a U-bolt there for a fixing. And you get all that lined up. And there's a little wedge just there. There's one just directly under my eye here. They're little lock tabs as well. So they'll give you a little reference of where the tray is to go. Good. Click. Nice. Easier to put the rear fixings on first. I'll just put everything in by hand first. Obviously this is going to be way easier on a ramp. Okay. Great, we can lower the car now. Okay, before we start the engine, we're going to check the level of the oil. I always pull the dipstick, clean it, and then dip it again. And you can see that that is almost at the top of the hatchings. Just there. So we'll drop a little bit more oil in. Right, let's see if we can start the engine without revving it to bits. Okay, once the engine's been started, you can leave it for a moment or two to let the oil all get back to the bottom of the sump plug of the sump. Dip it and check it. There we go, so it's near the bottom of the hatching, so 4 litres is not enough. Alright, here's my old oil. I am not just going to pour it down the drain or in the flower bed. I'm going to be getting rid of it responsibly at a recycling centre. So we'll put it in this container for the moment until I've got enough of it to take away. So that's an oil change on a Volkswagen Golf GTE. It's actually also the same for a Golf 1.4 TSI. So it doesn't matter about the GTE bit. I hope you found that useful. Please do like and subscribe for more content like this. And we will do the service light reset in another little video, I think, a little short, I think we'll do just after we've done this.